Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. One of the many advantages of the format that is the Summer of Pain, now known as the Eternity of Pain for Year 2, is that because there is zero energy cost, and because you can replay the fight as many times as you want over the course of 7 days, you can really test out the AI and how it's evolved, especially since the new May patch has dropped. I believe when Kabam says that they believe that they have fixed the game, even though there is a ton of evidence to the contrary already on the forums, even though Kabam also continues to delete most of it and certainly ignore it, and even warn people who ask completely valid, fair questions that they're going to lose the ability to ask such questions because of irrelevance or repeating the same kinds of questions, which I think is insane, given that if you and I each experience the same thing and we each post about it, yeah, technically we're repeating the same post, but it's because it's acknowledging two different instances of the same thing, because we're acknowledging and developing a pattern of problematic behavior and bugs within the ability to report something, you know? It's not that we're trying to be excessive. We're just being, if anything, transparent. So that brings us to this video today. Now, some of you have told me, even though I cannot connect with this, because I attempted probably for a good 20 minutes to get even a run of Archangel that got Icarus down to 80% health yesterday. Got him just 20% health down. I think the best I did was 11%. Because I couldn't keep my distance close enough to him. Now, I guess if you get him in the corner and you fire off successful heavies, he's against the wall. So he can't, like, bounce back from you in a sense. And that might help the ability to spam heavies. Rarely, though, since we have been talking about how the AI has evolved, especially after the new patch, have we had somebody using Archangel who was able to capture what the AI now does, almost like that. Was it a Tom Cruise movie? What was the movie that you got arrested for doing things in the future? Was it Minority Report? Anyhow, you got arrested for doing things in the future that you hadn't done yet. The justification for it was, we know you're going to commit a crime in the future, so we will arrest you now. A better example of this, and definitely a better comic book example, spoiler alert, is the villain plot of the new Disney Plus Moon Knight series, where you can look to see if somebody is good or bad, and even if they're bad because of something that they're, allegedly going to do in the future, they cease to exist before they ever can do that act. In this analogy sense, and I've seen this reported, and I've seen this even on my own end a few times, but nothing like the short video clip we're about to watch. If the input of the defender starts to feel you, because when you fire off a heavy, you hold down your finger, right? You apply pressure to the screen. The minute they register that you're about to fire off a heavy, and really not the minute, the microsecond is a better way to put it, they start to dash back so that when you release your heavy can't connect. Now, Archangel's a really unique example because, of course, his heavy stretches the screen far more than most because his wings are so big. So the only way that Icarus can avoid being hit by any of the hits on the heavy is if there's this almost Super Saiyan-like reflexes. Well, look at this 2-second clip. He has held heavy down. And even if Icarus evades part of it, he shouldn't evade all of it. And yet, that's what happens. He baits the heavy, and look, you can say he's a tenth of a second too late, right? Maybe he should have released the heavy a microsecond earlier. But it's still the case where the AI is so quick to register that his heavy is being applied that he immediately dashes back. And I don't think this is a bug. I think this is the new normal for AI interaction. I'm sorry if that means I'm the bearer of bad news, or I'm Mr. Negative, or I'm a pessimist, or whatever other complaints I get on my channel every day from my attitude. But I just see this as a successful attempt for Kabam to evolve the AI. And whenever I see stuff like this, I always think, man, what do you do? Like, we're people, we as in the majority of the people doing the Summer of Pain right now, because you've got to be Thronebreaker or higher. If you're Thronebreaker or higher, you've been playing this game for at least a year, maybe at least 2 years. So you've evolved with it. But if you're starting out, if you've never played this game before, and then all of a sudden you have to fight this, I can't imagine how stressful it is. This is also just another example of why Kabam, because the AI improves, you've got to nerf other things. You've got to nerf the energy cost of Act 6. You've got to nerf the nodes. Because this reminds me of when my college, Oklahoma State, tells students, hey, we've got good news. We're freezing tuition for next year. Your tuition won't go up. And everybody celebrates. But what they don't tell students is that they're jacking up the fees. So it actually ends up being the same cost to the student as if tuition went up normally. It's just the cost is hidden somewhere else, sort of like a bill in the American Congress that says it's for one thing, but then has a ton of pork attached to it that's really propping up something else that has nothing to do with what the bill's titled. Well, in the same way, Kabam is saying, hey, everybody, we're going to nerf Act 6. And don't get me wrong, I think for so many players that's good. And I've seen the elitist comments saying that it's not fair and it used to be a challenge. I still think it's going to be a challenge for a lot of people. But if you want the game to grow, you want people to not be Cavalier anymore. Because Cavalier's the new Uncollected. And we saw how Uncollected was treated in the past year. It's basically irrelevant most of the time. So, yeah, they nerfed Act 6, but they also buffed the AI. So the nodes might be easier and the energy costs might be lower, but if the AI is smarter, is it really even that much easier? You tell me. I just think it's worth noting that this is the new normal for AI. This is, especially when it says hard, going to hit you in Event Quest, Alliance War, Summer of Pain, Act 8, the arenas, side quests, incursions. The list goes on. And it's so amazing because when I started playing this game, I didn't even know what Alliance Quest or Alliance War were. Of course, this was before Alliance War seasons. But what I did know was that you could fight people in Event Quests, and now there's just so many things to keep track of that it's almost overwhelming. And again, that's for somebody who's played the game for 5+ years. If you've been playing the game for 5+ days, good luck. But yeah, there you have it. I appreciate Biohazard, how cool of a name is that? And shout out to the entire ISO 8Y Alliance family for your support. Always one of the honors of my channel's history to be able to help you form that alliance when you were looking for that years ago. On this sort of depressing note, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.